In this video we are going to see how you can provide your AI agents memories to know the details about you and be able to respond with a personalized response and not a generic one. You can link all your AI agents in there. You can link Hermes, OpenClaw or any other tool you may use, and yeah, it is easy to do and it will help you be more productive with the AI agent. So right now, for instance, I have this link in Droid, and if you ask this to tell me about me and my project, this will gonna go to my central memory where everything is stored, and it will fetch the details about my projects and the things that I am using. And in here you see that right now it will gonna go and query the memory and it will respond with the details. I have this also linked in Hermes, and again in here you can do the same thing, and right now he will just connect to the memory and it will do, in this case, a reflect, and it will pull all the details about me with the projects that I have, the things I like, and so on. And right now all of these are working because this is a question that we're gonna use the reflect option. So we're gonna check the differences for this, and it will scan all the memories that the agent has about me and about my project, and it will answer at the end with a synthesized detail about me and my project. And let's see what these two commands in two different agents that I am using will be able to produce for me. And right now we see that, for instance, from Droid, he went and scanned all the memories that it has with all the project that I have in here, and it tells me the details about me, about the things that I am working on, and how you work, what are your values and projects in here, because I'm using this memory across the coding agents. And you see that it knows the details about my VPS server, and it knows the surname of me and so on. So yeah, you see that, for instance, it pulled out all the details with projects and it knows everything about me. And again, if we're gonna see the details in the open in Hermes, we're going to see that it went and provided us similar results in here. And all of these things are done with the help of Hindsight. So this is an Docker container or an application that is self-hosted. You can self-host it yourself, and it is used to store all the details about you. In here you see that I've created a bank in here, and the recommendation, if you are only one like I am, is to create only one bank that will retain everything for you. And in here you see that it has like 987 memories in here, and it has a nice graph with the details in here. And if we're gonna check the interface in here, you see that it extracted the word facts in here. It has the experience, it has observations in here. It can create a knowledge base, it has the mental models in here. In here you can do a recall directly in here. So with the Dragos like this, and it will pull out in the recall the details with a score about this. The reflect is the one that it is going and it's reflecting. So basically this is not just recalling the details, it just goes and aggregates the details that you have in there. Again, in here you will have the entries, and in here you see that I have a lot of entries also in the memory. For instance, you can go and modify these views to see, for instance, the tags that are automatically sent. In here you see that it automatically added like Droid agent tags with the projects. So it categorizes all of these things automatically for you, and it keeps track of everything in here. And you can do also in here some configurations that will help Hindsight to be better. So in the past I've also tested Cogni like on memory, but Hindsight, it's the best option from my point of view. It's quite good, and it is just to the point. It is really a memory for your agents, and in here you have the options to add defense in there, like you're telling it to do some like API keys and things like that. It will go and redact them. In here you can configure some of the things in here, and in here you have the LLM request, because this is linking to an LLM. And right now, for instance, you see that I've asked like a more complicated question, and it went and reflected 2 times on this. And in here you will have the logs with the details, so you can tweak it in case it's using too many tokens. And if you are going to check the Hindsight website, right now they are in version 0.9.1, and you have a lot of nice data in here that you can go and check with all of these things and how they are working. So basically in here you see that it will use the retain to store the details. Recall, it will just do a quick sweep for something, just to pull the details about something, and reflect, it will go and just scan the database with the details. You have the observations in here that he will go and aggregate. Mental models, you can add knowledge pages in here. And the other thing is the fact that you can go and link this with everything. So you can go and link this with Agno, ChatGPT. You can go and put the details in N8N, Obsidian, it's working with this. You can go into the AI agents in here like Claude Code, Codex, and all of the agents that you have. So in here you see that you have the Grok, Anti-Gravity, Devin, Klein, Cursor, Kilo, Codex, Cloud Code, and so on. And yeah, right now I've linked this with my Droid and OhmyP. And in here, to just go and install this, you will gonna need to run this command. And for the self-hosted options, you're gonna also need to provide your URL in there. We should have the details somewhere. I've already created an article for this with all the configurations that you need to do for this, and I guess we are gonna check that because it will be easier to follow. So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to show you the details. Right now I have the article with all my settings and all the things that I did to self-host this, and basically you will have access when you want to deploy this to 2 images, a full image that has 9 GB and a slim image that has 500 megabytes. And basically the full one, it will have like local embeddings, model, local rank tracker, and so on. And the other image that is lightweight, this is what I am using, it will just link to LLM providers, and it will use embeddings from there to go and embed this into the vector database. And this can be easily deployed with the help of Docker Compose. I have this on my VPS server. You can deploy this very easily on your Mac with Docker if you have the details in there. And basically in here you need to set up this Hindsight access key. So basically every time when you are trying to connect, so for instance, if we're gonna go to my installation in here, like I have like insightai.bdoze.com, and if you are gonna open a new incognito window in here, you're gonna see that you will only have access to this if you will paste the API key that you set in there. And in here you'll have the options to create a new bank or use the existing bank in there and log into your interface. Okay, and yeah, I mean, we're gonna follow the Docker Compose file. We're not gonna deploy it ourselves right now because basically you can deploy this very easily with the help of an AI agent or manually. It's up to you. But yeah, in here you see that it needs a pgvector database, a Postgres vector database, and in here you have the user with the password, and in here you have the Hindsight with the ports for this. So it's all gonna use 2 ports, and in here you have the environment variables that you are gonna set. You can set the LLM provider in here with the model. I'm not using this. We're gonna see what I'm using right now because I am using the Open Code Go plan to go and link this there and use a model from the Open Code Go platform because it's cheaper like this to use, because this we're gonna use the LLM for reflections, observations, and other things. And yeah, I mean, in here you have the embeddings option, so I'm using the OpenAI for this, but you can go and use the OpenRouter. It's up to you. And in here you set the access key from the environment variables. And another thing that you're gonna set in here is the database URL, worker ID. So yeah, this has everything that you need to go and set. And after you are creating the project with the environment variable and the Docker Compose file, you are just going and do Docker Compose up -d like this I am doing. And in there, for instance, you have the options to go and check the logs, do a health check in here. And if you're gonna check like this, you're gonna see the details. Of course, you're gonna need to run the sudo because this is a user that. Okay, Docker Compose, you need to go into the Docker apps like this, and you will have the logs for this with the details. Okay, yeah, and again, then you can go and verify the API. And right now, after you will install this, you're gonna need and create some configuration, and in here I pasted all the details that I have in here. Basically in here you will go and just add the memory to see how it's working, and then you're gonna need to go and set up the things in there. We're gonna go and see what are the things that I have set in there, and we're gonna go and explain the details. So in here, when you are gonna create a new bank, for instance, blah blah blah, like this, you have like a bank project with with nothing configured. So if you're gonna go in here, you don't have anything configured, you don't have any defense, you don't have any configuration. It will work also like this, but it is better to go and do some basic configurations in here. And we're gonna check my Bidose one to see what I have in the configurations in here. And in here you have the retain option, and in here you have the options to add a strategy or use the default one. I am using the default one for this, and in here you can use the extraction model. I like to be concise with things. Chunk size I didn't change it, I let the default one. And in here you have the missions that you can adjust accordingly. And in here just added a prompt to keep the technical facts or only not the error message and so on. Basically this will help the Hindsight to go and do more concise things and don't store like greetings and things like that. Again, in observations you will have the options to enable observation. So in here you see that you have the default one which is enabled, and in here you have these options to go and only durable facts about my project infrastructure, preferences, recurring problems, and so on. So you can tweak this as you like. In here you have the options to go and tweak out the batch size, source fact max tokens, and so on. And in here you will have the things to provide to reflect. So in here you have the prompt from the reflect, and again in here I tell it like a basic things. Again, I'm still tweaking all of these things, like who is he and what he will need to provide. And in here you have, for the reflections, some options about the skepticism, literalism, and empathy that you can send in function of what you want. You can adjust this in there. I let this at the middle because this is a recommendation, because I'm using this as a memory for my Hermes agent, and I'm using this for my coding agents, and I want to keep it like this. Of course, you can change it. All of these things are already in here in the article that I've created. You can set all of these things up with API keys without a problem if you want. And in here you see that you have the options, the reflect personality with the scores, and you have some example in here. You see that for the DevOps thing, it's recommended to use the middle. If you're doing a code review, for instance, you can set it to 4, literalism to 5, and so on. You can add also hard rules in here. Never suggest like destructive commands and so on with the directive. So yeah, I've also added this, and you can tune the recall. You can go and test this, and in here you see that you can add like knowledge pages in there. Okay, and in here I've added some details because you can link this with Python. They have like API with client that you can install in Node.js. They have a CLI that can be installed and used to backup and query things. So for instance, in here you see that if you install the CLI, you will have the options to just, you configure it, and then you will have the options to go and directly use their CLI to chat with these memories. So that's why this is so powerful. Okay, these are some wrappers in here. And in here, I put some details about the LLM providers because I'm using the Open Code Go in here. So for instance, if you want to use the Open Code Go for the reflect in there, you can go and use the Open Code Go provider. You can link this with Claude Code directly and Codex if you have already installed them in there. For Docker, you just need to mount them. But I have Open Code Go and I'm using the V4 Flash because it's very good with this. And for embeddings, I'm using the OpenAI because it's not that expensive for embeddings. So you will have like a couple of cents to embed everything in there. And yeah, you can go and create Open Code Go. And in here you can put this, for instance, into a Cloudflare tunnel. So if you self-host this on your own home lab, you can go and advertise with a Cloudflare tunnels. Of course, you can do this with Tailscale also if you have it. I have this set up with Kodi from my point of view because this is what it is using in the details. And I have the traffic option in here that you can go and add, and Nginx, of course, so you can use all of these details, and you can go and back up all of these things. You can use their CLI to back up things, or you can go and do a full backup with Pluton or 0byte like this I'm doing. I'm backing up this externally on a cloud provider, encrypted with 0byte or Pluton. And yeah, I mean, in here you have the options to see how you can install it, and in here you see, for instance, when you are gonna install this for an coding agents, you will have the options to use all or the Cloud Code. For instance, if you want this only for Cloud Code, you need also to add the details into a hook for this to work in Cloud Code. And in here for the self-hosted options, you are gonna need to go and self-hosted. So yeah, basically, and afterwards you will have the details in there, and you can link it, for instance, with the bank. And in here you see that, for instance, for OMP, it has directly this baked into it, and you just put the URL in there with the API token and bank ID. In factory with the MCP server that can be easily added, and it's Hermes. Again, you can just go and configure it from their configuration. So you have a lot of flexibility, and you can use basically Hindsight in everything. You can even create some custom things. So for instance, for my master installation, I have a tool in the agent. Let's see in here if I have it, and it should have like Hindsight add memory. I just want to add the memory in there, and my master installation, it already has memory, but I want also to retain the details in the Hindsight so other agents to know when I'm working with master. So yeah, I mean, this is Hindsight, and this is how it can help you. And right now, for instance, if you will go and chat with your AI agents, with link it to master, it will just go and use the memories you have in there, and it will know what to do. So for instance, if I will have a new project, it will know that I am using like Docker apps in there, and it will know to go where and do things. For instance, it knows about my blog, about the website that I'm building, my master app, my email on Cloudflare. So yeah, it has all of these details, and it keeps history. In case I had a problem in the past, it will know about that problem, it will avoid it in the future. And yeah, I mean, this is trial and error, and this will give your AI agent basically a very smart way to not do same mistakes all over again, and it will just utilize what you already encountered and what you already saved, and this will make your AI agent smarter. Yeah, of course, this adds a layer of complexity on your AI agents, but from my point of view, this is worth it, because I want my agents to know my preferences, to know the details about me, to have a personalized response, not just go and tell something that is generic or kept in an MD file memory that they have. So thanks for watching, and tell me your point of view about Hindsight, and if you think it's a good memory system. From my experience with these memory systems, it's the best one that I could find, and I've tested a few in the past. And yeah, thanks for watching again.